Hello and welcome to The Awakening. My name is Whitney Clark, and I thank you so much for sharing a moment with us today. We are in the middle of a great time of year, right? The sun's shining. It's just really it's the time of year that everyone in Detroit looks forward to, and so we're excited and just really grateful to to have this season. And so, uh, motivation, encouragement, good vibes aren't always easy to find in all four seasons, but this is a very joyous time of year, um, and so we hope that you're having a good time with us. This is a community that we have created. It's an in-person space that we have, but by and large, most of our sessions are done virtually. But this is a space that we've created where we just come together and put things back in perspective. That's all we're doing is putting things back in perspective and reminding ourselves and encouraging ourselves with this digital community um, of a number of things. We are in the process of strengthening and uh, improving our mental health. That's really what we're here to do. We're here to put things in perspective so that as we walk away, we feel better, we feel lighter, we feel more in tune with the journey that we're on in life, and that we feel optimistic about the journey itself. Because the journeys have ups and downs. You have good moments, you have bad moments. You have moments where you feel like you're doing the right thing, and you have moments where in life you don't know if you're on the right track or not, right? And so, considering that those moments do take place, how do we create a lifestyle around us that can ensure we're on the right track even when we don't feel or even when we can't prove that we're on the right track? I think that's a matter of being around like-minded people, encouraging yourselves, and putting things back in perspective. And that's what we're doing here today. We're putting things back in perspective. And we have a theme that we talk about for each of our times together. And so I'm looking forward to our theme today. But before we jump into the theme, as is our custom, I want to ask you how you're doing. Where are you right now? How do you feel about what's going on in your life? And I want you to zoom out as much as you possibly can and see everything all in one. I want you to take your career. I want you to take your health. I want you to take your mental health. I want you to take your relationship, right? I want to take your family, your friends, and put that all in one pot, and then ask yourself, how does the soup taste? How am I doing? Where are you? How are you doing in life right now? Are things doing good? Things going bad? Do you need to reevaluate one of those major areas in your life? Right? Is it you? Is it the people? How are you doing? And how do you begin to methodically move each of those pieces in the upward direction? How do you begin to really organize your life and make sure that all of those things are moving in a positive direction? They won't all feel positive at the same time. But again, how do you create this system and this structure in your life that that lets you know that you're heading in the right direction even when the direction you're heading in doesn't feel good to you? Is a large part of the question. Is a large part of the question. Is a large part of the question that we're asking today. Yeah, how are you doing? Have you taken that assessment to see how you're doing and where you are mentally and emotionally? Good, good. That assessment is key. That assessment is necessary. Taking that mental assessment of where things are That's really big for you to be able to look at that and speak candidly about where you are, because I think that's where a lot of us are. It's like not really being able to see where we are and how we've gotten there. Yeah. And acknowledging that in one sense, because the question that we're asking today almost contradicts it. And so you've got to have a sober acknowledgement of where you are, because the question and the thought that we are speaking about today for the next few moments is, do you realize how much power you have in your tongue? Do you realize just how much power you possess in the words that you speak? Is that a part of the process that you are not being mindful of? You know, we as religious people believe that life and death lies in the power of the tongue. You know, I believe personally in all the miracles of Jesus. And we know through faith that these miracles took place as a result of what he said. Lazarus, get up. Yeah? Right? You know, get up from this place. Your faith has made you whole. Just out of what you say. And even if you're not a religious person to that degree, we understand the process of manifesting. We understand the process of just really just calling those things that be not as though they were, even though that's a religious phrase as well. But my point is that we've got to say something different about our situation as well. We've got to make the habit of confessing and professing the things that we want to manifest in our lives. So I'll ask you again, do you understand the power that you have when you say to yourself, I can do this. I'm becoming what I want to become. I'm becoming the wife I want to be. I'm becoming the husband. I'm becoming the father. Versus, I don't know how to do this. I never had a father. No one ever taught me how to be a... If we can change just something as simple as what we say, if we can change what we say about ourselves, we have the opportunity and we have this new lifeline to manifest what we want in our lives. But we've got to change the words that we use. And some of us, many of us, don't believe that's significant. Many of us don't see just how much power we have in what we say. But my friends, I tell you that it's probably half of the battle. It's manifesting. It's speaking a word of life when what you're looking at is death. It takes mental fortitude. It takes the ability to disconnect from what you see and oftentimes what you feel to speak something into the atmosphere that is contrary to the environment. It takes spiritual fortitude. The type of spiritual fortitude that strengthens you in the midst of what you see. You've got to begin to say what it is that you believe can and should take place in your situation, can and should take place in your life. You've got to find whatever it is inside of you to say, I will get through this. Things are looking up. My relationship is getting better. I am becoming a better husband. I'm becoming a better father. Reorienting your mental to speak life into yourself is where it all starts. with encouraging yourself. And I think that is so important, so vital, because when we look in society and when we look in the world, oftentimes there's a shortage of encouragement. There's a shortage of people pushing and willing you and telling you and speaking life into you. And what we end up doing is some of us end up waiting for people to encourage us, waiting for people to speak a positive word. I want to encourage you today to create that for yourself, to create that fuel that you need to motivate yourself and to get yourself out of a tough space, simply by manifesting, by creating an affirmation, by taking 5 minutes to write down affirmations that apply to the situation that you're in. I will graduate from college with a 4.0 GPA. I will be engaged, right, in a healthy engagement by the end of my senior year. My business will succeed, right? Confessing and saying those positive things, writing an affirmation and placing it on your window, on your mirror rather, and mentally reading those affirmations as you brush your teeth, speaking those affirmations out loud. What it does is it feeds your spirit, because we know as we experience life, there's the experience itself and maybe the physical element to the experience, right? If you run, you're going to physically feel tired. But then there's a mental element. There's a psychological element. When you could run for 5 miles, physically feel tired, but mentally feel like you've accomplished something. Huh? You don't feel tired, you feel accomplished mentally. How do we work on the mental? How do we continue to improve the mental so that even when you physically feel tired, you put things in the right perspective and you feel good about things you should feel good about? Because at the end of a run, you feel tired. Your heart is racing, right? You're like, my goodness, I could have spent this time doing something else. But if your mental and if your perspective is in the right place, and if you've confessed the right things, and if you've spoken the right things into the atmosphere that allow you to put things in the right perspective, then you'll feel good about some of these experiences that you're experiencing. Because we can't change some of them, right? These are experiences that some of us need to go through in order to get to the next phase. Let's change our mental. Let's confess and let's say things that are uplifting and that are fueling to the spirit. Let's speak life into ourselves, and let's create the habit of doing so that we can press through even the toughest of moments in this journey, because we're going to have them. How do we press through them? I believe you do it by confessing things that speak life into you and into your situation. So I'm encouraging you to do that. Acknowledge the power that you have in your own tongue. You'll get through this. You'll find the loving tribe. You'll get your health. You'll lose the weight. If you keep telling yourself, I look bad, I'll never, right? Oh man, I hate my body. No, I love my body. I love the body that I'm working towards. These small and subtle things come together to improve your mental health. They really, really do. And if you can change the small and subtle habits that you have by finding yourself in a community of people like us that remind us with love and respect to put things in perspective and to remember that the cup is half full and not half empty, then I believe, my friends, that we'll find the support and the love that we need to go through the dark parts of our journey, knowing that we're not alone, knowing that the strength to get through this dark period exists, and it's always existed within us. Thank you so much for sharing a moment with us. And we hope that something is said during these times that helps you along your way, that gives you something tangible that you can take into your week, that makes you feel a little bit lighter, which in turn enables you to be the light that the community needs. A lot of us are going into the world. A lot of us are looking at the news. A lot of us are going into these, like, the real world, and we're not seeing a lot of smiling faces. We're not seeing maybe as much of the love and the kindness and the humanity that we felt like we once saw. I want to remind you that it exists in you too. And a large part of this community is about finding that light and that love within inside of ourselves so that we can take it in to the world. No one's going to bring kindness. You know, the fish don't jump in the boat, right? No one's going to come in your community, in your circle of friends, break into your circle and break into your life and pour positivity. You got to find it sometimes yourself. You got to work out your own mental so that you know where the positive sources can come from and how to tap into them when you need them the most. So we're creating the light. We're not waiting on it. We're staying light in our spirits so that we can be the light that we so desperately want to see in our own communities. So again, that's what we're doing here. I hope that our community continues to grow with that theory and that thought in mind, this being a space where we are putting things in perspective, pursuing and maintaining, improving our mental health. Thank you guys so much. Whitney Clark. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for joining us for The Awakening.